Hey guys, welcome to Tattoo Spotlight Tales from the Tattoo Chair, where we'll talk about the tattoo culture and all things tattoo related. I'm your host, Rhonda Marsh, owner of Southern Draw Skin Art Studio in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
And I'm JD, owner of Psychotic Inc. in Clearwater Beach, Florida.
We are podcasting from Southern Draw Podcast Studios in the heart of the beautiful Smoky Mountains of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, located just downstairs from Southern Draw Tattoo. Today, our spotlight artist is Eric Newby, owner and award winning artist of Inked Expressions in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
How you doing,
How's it
guys?
going, Eric?
Good,
What's
good.
up?
Just finished up about a 5 hour piece and ready to do this now.
Grind again.
And grind again tomorrow, the next day, and the day after.
Well,
Never
it's so
ending.
good to see you again.
You too. I need to get you back in the chair.
Yes, I'm so ready. I'm so ready. If we wait too much longer, then we're going to have to go over what we went over our first time.
I know, right?
Yeah, and we don't want to do that. No.
No, we all got such busy schedules. That's the bad thing about tattooing other artists is like getting with your schedule and my schedule. you know.
We just need to have
Uh,
you come and do a guest spot.
I know. Yeah, we need to just plan that. I'll put it on the books.
Yeah. So before we get into pictures of your work, let me first ask you, Eric, what brought you into being a tattoo artist?
Growing up and working, you know, my dad, he kind of dibble dabbled with it for a little bit, not, just his little buddies at home and stuff. And I'd see the equipment and they talking about it, so it kind of got me hyped up. But growing up, I always knew I wanted to do something with art. I was an artist and, I almost went down the airbrush part of it. But, I started in 95. The only thing that, well, I opened my business in 95. I started tattooing in about 93, 94. The only,
Same.
yeah, yeah. So the
We're
only,
95 babies.
yeah. So the only thing as far as airbrushing really back then was go to Gatlinburg and be an airbrush artist, and I,
T-shirts and tennis shoes.
yeah. And so I was like, yeah, I was almost, you know, doing that. And then I thought, I went and got a tattoo. I think I was 18. I got this little uh, scorpion, and I was like, whoa, I just paid this guy 85 bucks for less than an hour's worth of work, and I thought, well, hey, I could
Hmm.
make some money at this, and at the time there was nobody to teach you. There was no, I mean, as the old bikers, they'd rather break your hand as to teach you something, you know what I mean, if they caught you
Oh yeah.
tattooing, basically. And so I learned on my own and got into it, and now I've got two studios. I've had three studios, but I've got 14 artists between the two of them, and I still work a full schedule. 5 days a week tattooing. I probably tattoo at least 6 to 7 hours, not including prep time. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
How
but
many conventions do you do a year?
I used to do a lot. Now I do about three. I don't really do a ton of them anymore, and that's probably a whole nother show. But I think they've died off some. I don't know. They just feel a little different nowadays for me. Um, but I do like them for the fire. They still give me the fire. You know what I mean? I'll
Yeah.
go and I'm like so. I think that if I wasn't so busy at home schedule, I've got another business as far as, I got that t-shirt business as well, Chat City Press. If I didn't have all those other things, I think I could devote more time and would like to go to more conventions, and work more. Still get
I think
invited and
more of
stuff.
the I think more of the like kind of I don't know art era people
Yeah.
uh, kind of backed off of conventions some, because they I don't know started to kind of take a different route, not good or bad, but just kind of I don't know
Yeah. Well,
let
I
that
will.
younger crowd run with it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I will say. one thing. I mean, I still will compete some. Uh, I mean, I've won up until last year. I usually do some stuff, but at this point, I start kind of feeling a little weird about entering, just because I've done it for so much. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
let these young bucks, give it a
Hmm.
shot and get a pat on the back. You know what I mean? It's like, but
Oh yeah.
at a point, you start going, well, I still want to show my worth.
Well,
You
you
know,
want to
Yeah.
give, you want it for me. It's like, I want to, if I have something that I can enter when I do at a show, get the young bucks a run for their money. It's like, hey,
that
yeah,
too.
get off the
Yeah,
porch, pups, and try to keep up with these old dogs.
yeah,
Well,
that too.
you want to feel relevant. I mean,
Oh
you want
yeah,
that like that little pat on the back, like, hey man, you're doing good. Oh, cool,
yeah,
cool. All right, all right. I ain't
yeah.
pissing away my time here.
Well, one thing, I mean, I like to go, meet people. If once you go and you kind of build a little family and you like to see people and all
Hmm.
that, but once you kind of like, so I was going a lot, and then I took off a year, and even a year, you're going, who are all these people?
Right.
A whole new ball game.
Where'd you
But
come from?
yeah, one of the things I found going to them was, used to, for like me, um, used to, I was one of 100, you know what I mean, and throughout the United States, you
Yeah,
know what I mean, if that, you know what I mean. Back in, you know 10, 15 years ago, I could go to any show and compete with anybody, and there was only, a handful of guys doing, the color realism and doing what I do, you know what I mean. So it's really able to set yourself apart, you know what I mean.
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
and so what would happen is I would go to shows all over the United States. Well, then I'd have people fly in. You know what I mean? They'd fly in from different states and get work and all that stuff. And now there's people that are there's thousands of me. You know what I mean?
right.
So people aren't traveling. They're not traveling as far as they used to. You'll still get them, but not like used to, because of the
Do you
internet.
think the economy has anything to do with that? Or do you think
No,
that's just
I think
in
it's just
general?
the internet. I think people are more aware. They can see
Saturation.
saturation. They can see tons of good artists. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, and there's tons of good artists out there to choose
yeah.
from. So they're
There
like,
used to
well,
be one of
hey,
you. Now there's a
there's one
hundred
of
of
me
you.
in every city. There's one of me in every
Yeah,
city. There's not one of me in every other city, or there's five of me in every city now. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
yeah, yeah.
so I think that kind of took the wind out of it a little bit for me. As far as conventions go. But
Yeah.
there's still a good thing,
Well,
especially up and coming artists.
competition
You
got a
know what I
little
mean?
stiffer.
Well, it did, but the clicks even got a little clickier. You know what
Oh,
I'm
oh
saying?
yeah, oh
It's kind
yeah.
of like, I do see that you kind of got to be going, and you kind of got to be knowing these people before, it ain't
It's high
always
school
about
all
the
over again.
work. Yeah, it's not always about the work. Wished it was, but it's not.
Yeah.
But hey,
Well, let's take a look at some of your work. What do you think?
okay,
All
sure.
right. So here is a really good piece.
That's fairly recent. I did that this last year, I think. Two different sessions, about 5 to 6 hours. I started with the bottom portion and put the stencil on of both. So when I do something like this, I just design the whole thing, and then I'll stick it on, the stencil on. I did the bottom portion of it, the bottom girl, and then the second session did the top girl, which, I felt good about how this really healed back. You can't hardly tell the difference between the fresh one on top, girl, and the one on the bottom, as far as
Yeah,
the saturation and how it held. You know what I mean? It didn't lose a
yeah, yeah.
lot. Didn't lose a lot. So,
Looks great.
Yeah.
well,
It's
thank
nice when
you.
it looks like just one continuous piece like that. Like you
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
the age difference in the ink doesn't jump out or anything.
Yeah, and
That's,
honestly, it was about a month difference, maybe.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
oh, that's not too bad.
we got in fairly fast. You know.
Yeah, I've had people come back like after like a year or two, and they're like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
and
we just
try to
finished that
finish.
top part," and you're like, "Ah, shit, dude."
Well, what I
We got to
like
start
is,
from scratch,
like
man.
I said, the bottom one. If you look, it's healed, but the tones are still like the
Yeah,
top
yeah.
one. You know what I mean? And with black and gray, a lot of times,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, it's hard to even. But actually use solid pigment if I can throw that out there for my black and gray. They got a five
Right.
stage set. I'll put a few drops. I got a little system of white in it, and just
So I was
enough.
gonna ask you if you use the drop method or you like pre-mix
No, I tell
or
you, I like pre-mix, and the reason I like pre-mix, and I try to tell apprentices that, and other people as well. You know, it's consistent. It's the same every time.
yeah, yeah.
Let's say 99.9% of the time, the pigments are mixed the same when you get them from the factory. It ain't me remembering how many drops I put in it this time, the last time. Did I put that much in the cap that last time or this time? You know what I mean?
Well,
And
especially when you're
so,
going back into a piece.
oh yeah.
Oh man, that's huge.
What? But in training yourself though, if you know that that pigment is going to be the same every time you put it in the cup, that's one more of the equation that you knock out. The rest is going to
Yeah,
be up to
Right.
you. You know what I mean? Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Kind of the same way, same reason back in the day when I swapped to rotaries. Everybody was like, loyal to the coil people, and why you want to do a rotary? Why you want to do a rotary, man? So I was 15 years ago, way back
Oh yeah.
before they really all came out. There was only a couple on, but like I had this one guy. I was at a tattoo convention, and he was watching me all weekend, and he's like, "Hey man, at the end of I'm tattooing, your shoulder to shoulder," and he leans over. He's like, "Dude, why?" He's building coil machines. He's like, "Why do you like them things?" I said, "Well, because when I pick this thing up, it does the exact same thing every time. Every
Yeah,
time. I don't so not having to figure out what the hell's the matter with the machine or nothing like that. It's something I don't have to worry about every time. The next year, dude's not making any more machines. He's running rotary machines, and he's on the track. He's on the train. So
Okay.
cool.
All right, let's go to number 2.
Nothing like a
sounds
good
good.
number two.
Yeah. Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
full back all the way down. So I took on this. I wished I would have created the whole thing, but he sent me something, and I created something similar to what he wanted. As we do a lot in realism, but
yeah. I've seen the digital image of a picture like that where it was like
yeah.
all the hands and everything, and
So how many sessions?
Honestly, I think we did it in like three. That guy was a beast. He didn't. He
wow.
wanted to get it done. You know. Um,
Yeah.
so a lot of
And the
shading.
tattoo artist is a beast too to go that long.
I appreciate it, but yeah, I've
I'm
got
so
some pretty
lazy
good.
anymore.
I'm getting there. I used to. Uh, People's asked me how long
Wow.
I've sat in one session, and I've done 18
Yeah.
hours, and I would never, ever, ever, ever do that again. Never.
Yeah, I think my longest was like 12,
I
and
Yeah.
think
I
mine
my
was
back
10.
was just screaming. Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
gosh.
Mine
Oh,
was 10 because we did it at a tattoo convention, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get tattoo of the day. I want tattoo of the day." And then I was going around when we took a break, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you're not gonna get tattoo of the day. Like, you're local. Why don't we just stop right here?" No, I'm gonna get tattoo of the day, and like a 45-minute black and gray skull on somebody's top of the hand won it
there
over a
you
back
go.
piece.
Yep. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
those. I've worked so hard on stuff on them shows, man. I'll be like, I like to get the corner booth, and my
Yeah.
Yeah.
wife will stand there. I'm tattooing. She's cramming food in my mouth. I'm like, okay, gotta get done.
Okay, let's go to number 3.
Oh, that was
Uh,
done at a convention there as well.
Oh
Um,
wow.
I'm pretty sure that I won tattoo of the day on that one.
I would
So
hope so.
is
yeah,
that
That's awesome. That's
that's done
awesome.
all in one session?
Wow, look at
that
that.
was one
I love that.
session. I think it took about 8 hours.
Now, is that redness in the skin, or did you
No,
actually
no,
tint
no.
that
I
red?
so this client on her upper leg, she had another horror piece that I did, and it's got a pink hue in it, and had a lot of
Okay.
pink in it. So I
Yep.
wanted to bring it, with it
Yep.
some.
Carry it
So
through.
yeah, so I put the pink hue in it. Let me
Nice.
tell you something about that piece. This is talk about conventions and stuff. So many years, or a couple years prior to this, I got in a conversation to a guy that was being really judgmental about stuff, and he remembered me from that conversation to this one. And so the day after I was tattooing, I was tattooing Sunday. He comes over. I didn't remember him right off. He says, starts asking me about this. He says, "Hey man, can I ask you a question about that tattoo?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And he goes, "Well, what made you put pink in it, but not on the shoulder of the guy?" I said, "Well, I'm tattooing, man. You know what I mean? I'm tattooing. I'm not really
Right.
thinking a whole lot about it. I'm still tattooing." I said, "Hell, I don't know." But at the time, I did know. When I looked at it, when I thought about it, or after he left, I remembered it was that guy. I was like, "You're a prick." I mean, honestly, that's all he was trying to be. But the reason I didn't was I wanted the head to be forward. The shoulders were in the
Yeah.
foreground or in the background. Wouldn't have made. I mean,
Yes.
you could have, but it would have pulled the shoulder
Y-
forward. It wouldn't have looked right to me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
That would have
that's
put him
why.
directly under it and not behind it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it light source. But he
Yep.
wanted to let me
No.
know. He's like, "Oh, I couldn't give you high marks on that." I said, "Well, it didn't really matter, did it?" He was one of the judges. He's like, "Oh, I couldn't give you high marks on that." I said, "Well, okay, it's your opinion, bro."
Yeah.
Kill,
Well,
kill, kill,
I
kill,
love it.
kill.
art.
Yeah.
Well, art is so subjective,
Oh, it is.
Little
Yeah,
stuff like that. It's like,
absolutely.
ah, dude, man, nobody's wrong or right. It's
No,
the artist's eye. I mean,
right.
some things are blatant. You're like, oh, that sucks. But other
That's
stuff's
why.
like, oh, okay, I totally get what you were going for.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at number 4.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
there's some you don't see every day because of the new hit.
Yeah.
Pennywise has just taken over. So this is
That's
the
the
true
classic.
blue
Yeah.
classic Stephen King.
Oh, what was
I
the
did.
actor's name?
Jim
Oh
Curry.
man. Tim
Yeah,
Curry,
yeah,
yes.
he was
Tim
so
Curry, not Jim
iconic.
Curry.
His
Tim
look.
Curry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim,
So
yeah.
I did that actually. I, if you go to my page and look, that is a full sleeve, and it is a very nice sleeve I did of all the characters, and
Uh,
all the classic horror characters, and it's just bright. It's all color. I mean, it
cool.
looks great. So what's cool about seeing, if you go back and look at it, or if you went on one of my pages and looked at it or anything, you'll see that guy healed. Looks that good. You know what I mean? Like you'll
Wow.
see a lot of
Awesome.
people that their stuff looks good
Oh yeah.
when it's a picture.
Fresh. Yeah.
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 You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But let it heal. Then let's see what it looks like, or let's see it in person,
Yeah.
you know. But
Oh yeah.
All
a lot
right,
of
let's go
fun.
to 5.
Oh yeah,
Oh
so
man.
Pennywise
Ah,
too. That's the
from
new
the
one.
old to the new.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, to
Yep.
say that's awesome, man. That's
Well, thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
That
All
is
it's
super, super sweet.
those tones are fun to get in there. The light source. It's really paying attention to what's you got blues and grays and pinks and colors in there that you wouldn't think sometimes that you need to make it have that dimension to make it to pull off the
It's
dimension.
just like it just looks so opaque and just so
Well, the
uh
detail.
yeah, look at that nose. It just looks like it's just got that glare on that nose just so perfectly. And then the lips.
I love the detail
Thank
on the
you.
upper head, the little creases and stuff.
Yeah.
That's attention to detail there.
So what does he look like? Like what's in front of it where it looks like he's kind of peeking around
It's
something?
a
Is that
balloon. It's a balloon. A large
okay?
balloon. Yeah.
Okay. So
It
that
just
just
wasn't
that part
finished.
wasn't done yet. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
He turns it
So,
into a dog.
oh man, I bet
Right.
that the when the balloon, like, oh god, I bet that's we all float down here.
Yeah. Awesome movies.
That is so cool.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
let's look at number 6.
Oh yeah, that's from way back
oh
from the
yeah.
old one. I did that at the
Dude,
Nashville Tattoo Convention. That was early on, literally when I started doing color realism,
so was
like
that
pieces.
a Ben show? When
Yeah,
Ben
it was
was
at
doing
Ben's
the
show.
Nashville show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
back when, yeah, in golly, it was a long time ago. But uh, I was thinking, you remember Gary Busick?
Yeah.
Busey, he was at
Yeah.
that
Oh,
show.
Gary Busey. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was at that show. He was wild. Him and his son. I was sitting. Jack Busick, which plays music, and is it Jack or Jake? I'm not for sure, but he plays music. He's got a band. I was sitting shoulder to shoulder with him while I was working on that. You know how close it is. And Gary come in there, man. He had the crowd, dude. It was people was just going crazy, and he was being crazy. He
Oh,
was
I
putting it
think
out
he'd
there.
be crazy even without trying.
Right, right. But yeah, that one I love doing that one. It's fun. It's got a lot of
Let's show 7. It shows like,
colors.
oh
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
a lot of color, and I like
Wow.
how the blue on one side, the red on the other side, and
Yeah.
Yes.
a lot of little
But
details.
7 shows like,
Yes. So
Oh, there
yeah,
you go.
that is the same piece that we just looked at,
yes.
but many years later we put this other on here. This guy's actually got a lot of nice stuff that I've done. Yeah, so it's held up
God, the detail
great
in that.
because that picture was like years after,
Now, did you
and
So
go over
you're
that
talking
any, like
about the
freshen
no,
it
bottom
up?
part.
that was a one time hit on that thing, and
Oh wow. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't. So
See, that speaks volumes
yeah, we
that
had
your
we had
work
put
is
the
held up like that. You know.
yeah, we had put that bottom stuff on it. But yeah, no, I've never had to go back in it, and that was probably a 3 or 4 year gap between
Wow.
the bottom, because on the other side, what you don't see is the Creepers movie is on the other side,
Oh,
and
we're gonna get to that.
oh, okay, well, he's the same guy
Yeah.
that has that
Well,
same. Yep.
Yeah, we are gonna get to him. Matter of fact, we can probably pull him up now.
Yeah,
There
so
we
that's the
yeah.
other
go.
side. Yeah, that's the other side of his leg there. So,
Wow.
That's awesome.
Now
or
look
it
at
may be
that.
the it
Like
may be the other leg. I don't know. I know it's the same guy has it. Has
Jeepers
the
Creepers is one of my favorite horror movies ever.
Is it really?
Like, oh my
Yeah,
God,
that's
I
a
love Jeepers Creepers because it was the anticipation. Like, I love anticipation. It was the truck that you see at the bottom. You got his, when I saw that, when I saw the old truck, you know what I mean? He's like blaring on the horn, and like, and it's like, when is the truck coming? And then he's throwing bodies down the pipe, and the Justin Long and the girl that played his sister were like, we got to go see. And I'm like, no, don't go back.
Justin Long was perfect for that movie. He
Oh
was,
yeah.
yeah.
But it's everybody does stuff in horror movies. You're like, that is a terrible idea.
Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
You're in a horror movie. You make poor decisions. That's what you do.
This is a good idea. Shh, I'm being quiet. Breathing on me.
Jeepers Creepers is that movie. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a terrible
It's
idea.
such a
Don't do
cult
that.
classic. I mean, all of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
the
Look at
detail, the light source was awesome on that.
See,
My
now I
first
like at the top
picture.
how you shift, like the highlight to the head. You have the darker
Yeah, here to
background, and as
here.
it comes
Yeah,
around, it goes to the light with the darker side of the head.
yeah,
Little stuff like that you notice makes things just stand out so much better.
yeah.
I know. Let's see that truck. Like when I saw that truck, um, I was like, oh my God, he put the truck in there, that the dude drove because that was a
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
mean looking
I
truck,
know, right? I probably spent as much time on the truck as the rest of it. you know,
Really?
you you start out and you do that, and you're going, "Oh man, I still have the whole thing left to go." I spent all this time in this little
Now,
area.
is
Now
that
I'm
a
done.
one setting tattoo?
One session, yeah. Yep, it
Wow.
was probably 8 to 10
Wow.
hours. Yeah.
Dude, you take on some big sessions.
Yeah, I do. And and I used to so undercharge for that. That guy probably I ain't even gonna say what he's probably got in
No,
that
don't say.
because I would say, yeah, man, let's do $800. You know what I mean? I don't know what's what I mean, but
Yeah.
clearly by the
Yeah.
time it wasn't about the money, it was about me putting the time in. I just wanted to be a badass piece. I just wanted,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't do like I wouldn't do 2 sessions. It's like one. I want to finish this. I want it to be badass. I want it. So,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah. Well, once you get into it, man, you really start pouring your soul into it.
Mhm.
You
yeah.
can't put a price on that, man. Especially if it's something that you're just really into.
Want to do. Like, I'll give
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
better price if it's something I really wanna do or one
Oh
of my
yeah,
own drawings on
absolutely.
the board. Okay, let's go to number 8.
Oh
Boom,
Chucky.
bang, there's our old pal, friends to the end.
Yep, yep. Let's
And let's
see.
go to 9.
I'm trying to. I think that one I might have. Nope. Yeah, it is right there.
Yep,
That's the
Yeah,
one
it
I.
is. Oh
there we
yeah.
Yeah,
go. Fountain
I've
City
done
Tattoo
him.
Expo.
Yep, yep. Best small
Best
color
small
right there.
color?
Now, what's funny to me, and don't take it wrong, that's pretty much a whole forearm, and it's
Right to
small
me,
color.
small.
It's like, man, that's pretty big for
It
small,
barely
You
is
man.
know,
in there.
when I worked the Fountain City show, that's when Eric started the line on my thigh last year, Manny
Yeah,
Lane went. The judging was a little weird there because
yeah.
I asked him, on a piece that I had, the Jesus piece that Eric did on me, and it had a little bit of color. It was mostly black and gray, but they were like, "Oh, that would be best small color," and I'm like, "This covers my whole front of my
Uh,
thigh."
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got
Like,
little legs too, though. I mean,
no, no.
It's
Okay,
big. It's like
let's go to
it's three quarters
let's
of
go
a.
ahead and see if David will show my Jesus is 29. Okay, so that's the tattoo that Eric did on me. And that is not best small cut. That is my whole thigh from the top to the kneecap. You can see the kneecap
Yeah.
there. That is not best small color. I'm
yeah,
sorry, but I love, love, love my Jesus tattoo.
yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. So, and I went to your shop and had that done. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
a good experience being able to not only like do something in a convention setting, but actually going to some of your favorite artists to their shops and seeing what their shop looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always fun to
So,
check out, see what people do different or how it looks or
Oh yeah, you can
set,
tell a
different
lot
setup.
by tattoos by their area. It says a
Oh
lot
yeah.
about them.
Mine looks like a
so let's
mechanic's
go
workbench
to
by the time
10.
I'm done. Stuff's thrown everywhere. Mm.
Got ink on your hair.
Oh, dude, I used to always say, man, somebody'd be like, "Oh, you got stencil all over your face." I said, "That means I'm fixing to do a badass tattoo. This one's gonna turn out badass because I got stencil all over my face." Yeah.
So
In
of
his face,
course,
hit him a little
Jack
too close to
Nicholson
his
from The
face.
Shining. Great. I mean,
Thank
that's
you.
classic right there.
Yeah.
Now,
A
is
Well,
that
little
a
you're
one
fun.
session?
That was one session. I will say the only thing I don't like about that piece, and I'm old school, is being on that arm. You know, uh,
right.
we've put other stuff around it, but he insisted he already had something on the other arm. It would nowhere else, right here,
Yeah.
and I just I always
Well,
feel
that's one of
like
those ones you can't change direction on
yeah, no,
because
you can't,
yeah,
you can't,
yeah.
but
Some
it's
stuff you can
so.
adjust, but yeah.
I don't know if it's just me or if y'all feel the same way, but my eye literally, it's more appealing to me if it's faced the other way. You know what I mean? On the other
Me
arm,
too. Yes,
on the
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm
I don't
pretty
know if
a
it's because
stickler
we
on
got
that.
trained or not. Oh, I am too.
Oh
And like I
yeah.
had a girl the other day, she had put numbing cream all over on her leg, been here for a couple hours, and by the time I changed her design, what she wanted, we got it ready. It was Carrie, from the movie, Carrie,
Oh
the
yeah,
old
yeah.
19s, and
Hmm.
it's an old one. I can't remember what year, but anyway, and I didn't realize until I got it all ready, and I said, "This is not going to look." It's like this piece. It was looking the other direction. Basically, your point of view was from the other direction. I literally had to take the time and tape it on each leg and say, now, which one looks more appealing to you? But I also had to take a picture so it would look right to her, not backwards in the
Yeah.
mirror. And she's
Right.
like, you know what? I'm just going to suffer through it. I'm not going to use the numbing cream because you're right. It's not going to look, when I look down, it don't look right as good. And I said, good. I'm glad you agree with me because I'd put it on you if you insisted, but I really didn't want to, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, let's look at number 11.
oh yeah, another Jack
Ah,
Nicholson. That one was my early on realism as well. Used to I would get these magazines, uh, Nico or
tattoo
Tato,
magazines.
yeah, and all that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and people be like, "Hey man, look at this is badass," and I would say, "Oh, I could do that if I had the opportunity," and they're like, "Yeah, okay," So finally one day I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just make the opportunity for myself and just started giving stuff away, you know what I mean? And just started
Right.
started doing it, started doing the realism and showing that I could do it. It's just had to have the opportunity.
Oh,
And
the smoke
sometimes,
ring's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
thank you.
I mean, that
And
smoke
sometimes
ring
that
is.
is,
How you get
yeah, that
started?
was do what?
Okay, let's.
That's it. How you get started? Like, there
Oh
was
yeah.
a artist, and he said the same thing. He was like, "Yeah," he said, "Man," he said, "nobody knew who I was or anything." And he said, "I was practically giving tattoos away." He
Yeah.
said, "But it helped me establish what I was
The
capable
style.
of." And he said,
Yeah.
and it ended up paying off.
Yeah, and I find it, and I'm actually about to go through it myself again, is uh, you get where you're not doing what you really want to do. You're just paying your bills, and there's still the
Yeah.
nice pieces, but it's not exactly what you want to be doing. Sometimes you have to back up and reboot and throw some things out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, check this one out.
And give them away, give them to them. Now that's the same guy that's got the Jack Nicholson piece.
Is it
Oh,
really?
Yeah, not the
Or
smoke ring
what did
one.
they say in Mars Attack? How did they were like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah,"
oh
or
yeah, yeah.
they, oh, God, Mars Attacks is great.
Oh yeah, all those brains.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know it. And then, of course, they did not come in a friendly manner.
Oh no.
Okay, let's look at 13.
Oh yeah, from the
Wow.
new, got his hair lip in
Dude.
there.
Yeah.
Yes, and my daughter was born cleft,
Oh yeah.
so he is one of her favorite
Oh yeah.
actors. Oh my God, she just really resonated also with this movie because she fought with depression and anxiety for so long.
Oh yeah.
So, oh my God, you couldn't say anything bad about this
Yeah.
movie. She would just
Oh
have a
no.
fit.
Oh, he's
But
an excellent actor, and
Yeah, yeah.
and so versatile.
yes, yes, and this really showed it. Like I think this really showed a whole other side to him.
Yeah, it was totally different. No, it wasn't you had a lot of people that they were mixed about it because it wasn't what you expected at all. You know
Yeah.
what I
Right.
mean? They expected it to
Yeah.
be like along the lines of Batman, and it really wasn't. It was a whole
Funny.
different,
Like out of the comic book.
yeah,
Yeah.
something different.
I'm Batman.
But yeah, on this piece, I love the hard white
Mhm.
highlights and things to make that
I like the
edges look
background
that
to
way.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like
it gives it
the
such a
background really makes it him like really come forward.
yeah, yeah, and it's trying to do something dark, but not just black or solid, or something that
yeah.
kind of a little motion, or
Well, it's a lot of the more subtle grays that make the picture, and
yeah,
yeah, yeah, just because it's so much detail.
Okay, let's look at 33.
yeah. So this piece is actually done at Jacksonville Tattoo Convention, It's the same girl. If you look at the tones, it's the same girl that has the Jason piece on her. You see the pink?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's why that little
All
bit
right.
of pink glow, because if you turned, have
Oh,
pink right here,
yes.
if she's
Yep.
turning her leg, you'll see. So there's a pink glow that goes from the left hand side all the way across her
Oh,
leg
nice.
as she turns her leg.
That's
Very
good
cool.
thinking. That's good thinking. That's good. Okay, how about 14?
Oh yeah, Mr.
Oh,
Pink.
there's the
Oh
man.
man,
Yep, that's actually
you
on.
gotta do it in the classic purple.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, let's zoom in on him a little bit.
And that was early on as well when I first started doing
Nice.
color realism and portrait.
Wow.
Yeah. Old Prince.
Yeah, that's on
He
my
was,
actually on one of my front counter people works my downtown studio.
oh,
Oh, cool.
really?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
she loves it. We're
Yes.
about
That,
to
so how long
I
did that
bet.
take?
probably then I would say probably took me 7 hours,
'Cause it's a
maybe
pretty
eight.
big piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one session. I've always been fast. I mean, I don't try to be fast by no means at all. It's
Right.
just how I work. I mean,
Yep.
once I get in the groove of it, now you can ask her. I'm slow at getting going. When I get set up and we get going, but once I get going, I'm locked in, and I might
Yeah.
sit there three
Nice.
hours and think I've been sitting there 30 minutes.
Uh, well, you get
But
inside your own head, and you're just so
yeah.
hyper focused on what you're doing. Yeah.
So one other thing that I noticed that you do very well besides horror is animals.
Oh yes, thank
So let's look at 17 here.
Old bear, those things are hard. People don't know
Nice.
that, but they are hard.
Oh, hell yeah, hell yeah.
We have
You
to
can either
tattoo
have,
bears a lot
Solid
because
fur. Whew.
we're in the Smoky Mountains. So, but
yeah,
most of the time, our bears are like the outline of a bear with trees and the mountains in the middle of it. And it's
yeah,
not so much like this bear, but fur is really hard to do.
yeah. You could either have a raccoon, a bear, or a wolf out of that if you ain't careful. It could be any of the three.
And what part of the body is this on?
Zoom out now. Upper thigh.
I was gonna say it
Thigh.
looks like a
That's what I
thigh.
was thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
upper thigh. So that's a big.
Yeah.
That was a big
So that
tattoo.
probably as big as what my lion is. I bet that was spicy.
Oh
See,
yeah,
we get
it's
a little
probably a
off the
little
hook.
bigger.
We get a little off the hook kind of break in Florida because the big thing with us down there is like palm trees and
Yeah,
like
Dolphins.
flamingos and dolphins. Up here,
right,
oh yeah, it's everything's covered in hair.
right.
So
Yeah, animals and
Okay,
yeah, and of
let's
yeah,
go
course
to
classic
18.
mountains. But
Yeah, there's a lion. Lions can be pretty tough to do. I don't
yeah,
ever have problems with the mane of a lion because I like doing hair. And
yeah,
Dino Cook taught me kind of how to do hair, and you don't do it strand by strand. You make a V cut and then you do
yeah,
this and then, makes it flowing.
yep,
And but there and again, in the middle of the face, you got to put some fur,
yeah,
and the mane will be banging, the everything will be banging, and then I get to like in here, and I'm like, ugh,
yeah. Well, that
gotta do
one
fur.
that one actually that you're using that's an old one. I've done. Man, I've changed so many techniques doing those things, doing them different. You'll see some that's like that doesn't have a lot, and then you'll see some, man, that I've just really got a lot of little dots and stuff in there.
I just seen one that you posted. I was trying to find it, and it was opaque. It was an
Yeah,
opaque lion, and it was
yeah,
like it
that
was
was a
so
cover
off
up.
the chain, though, man. I
That
mean,
was
it was
a
so
big
good, and I was like, oh my god, this is awesome.
That was a big crazy cover up. The one you're probably talking about. I had turned that guy away several times, and he would see me do a cover up, and he's like, "Man, I know you can do it." I'm like, "Dude, but you can't do what you want. So finally, he agreed to do what I
Yeah.
want. As far as it was still a lion, he was wanting to do a lion that was straight on. I'm like, I can't work with that, bud. I got to have something dimension. I said, let me turn it.
Yeah.
So finally, I
You need
turned
that
it.
mane.
Yeah, worked it out, and it worked out really
I
good.
wish I could have found that because that is, I mean, that thing was fire. It was just
Thank you.
pure fire. I
You talk
figured this
about,
was kind of an older one, but
yeah,
I still
you did
think
some
it's a
digging, didn't
great
you?
tattoo. And but
You did some
I'm more
digging.
interested to talk about in picture number 19.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a
Okay.
half lion, half gorilla,
Uh,
That
uh,
crown.
is crazy fire.
Thank
Like,
you.
okay, tell me the story behind this tattoo.
Young guy just said that's what he wanted, and I put it together. Not really a crazy story or anything. It's just,
No
you know,
reasoning?
just
Like
kings.
kings?
yeah.
Just kings. Apes are kings. Lions are kings, and then of
Apex
course the
animals.
crown. Yeah, yeah. So,
Can we
um,
zoom in on that? Because I really looked at this for a long time and I was like, oh my gosh. Like,
I like the nice. It's a nice transition between the two.
oh
Some of them
yeah.
it looks like they just like took two pieces of paper and just slid it together. But
yeah.
this one just has a nice transition to
And I
the
will say
next. That's
that
great.
one's all before AI or anything. That was just putting it together myself.
Yeah, look at that. Like look at the lip on the ape and then of course the lions have a little bit of a lip.
You
But the
actually had to work
nose,
for it.
the nose is just spot
Oh yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was
that
yeah.
Um,
mouth.
wow,
Little
the
hairs.
transition to that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, y'all making
Wow.
me want a tattoo.
I mean, that's that and I was looking at the eyes and I was like, wow, look at the eyes are just dead on for an ape to a
yeah,
lion. Like the crown, even all the pearls and the jewels and everything going on in the crown. And that's kind of hard to do when it's sitting on top of a head to get like the mane, like when you're doing a lion and a crown, is get that mane to look right behind the
Yeah,
crown.
yeah.
they could have used a
And
little more shadow maybe underneath, but under the crown to make it a little more dimensional. But sometimes you get to. I mean, that's a one session piece. Back in the
Yeah.
day, doing that stuff, people
God,
didn't.
it's huge
They
for
did.
one session.
Yeah, they didn't want to come back for two sessions. You couldn't get somebody to come back for two sessions. It was, man, you get this done? Yeah, let's do it all night. I'm
Do you
going
do
home.
tap outs?
Yeah, 2 or 3 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And literally, I guarantee you, without that guy's probably got under a grand in that back in the day. I mean, that was probably done.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Wow.
well, I would
Yeah.
say 5, 6, 8, 7 years ago, maybe. Yeah, I'd say.
Let's move on to
Before
number
I knew my
20.
worth.
Exactly. I was just getting ready to say, man.
Yeah,
Undervaluing yourself.
Now
yeah,
this is really
absolutely.
nice. I like the
Yeah,
fur on this one. I love the
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
those right there are cool just simply because it's not so much that you can concentrate on just that area. You're not worried, you're not
Mhm.
having to get all the mane done around it. Because we work from the bottom up. You're having to do the mouth, the nose, all that
Yeah.
stuff before you even get to the eyes.
Yeah, and the eyes, like when I'm painting a portrait, the first thing that I do, and this is what you cannot do in tattoo, well,
Right.
not easily, is I get the eyes nailed in because I want to see whoever I'm painting. Like I've painted probably 25 rock stars. If I can see them looking
Nice.
back at me, once I see them eyes looking back at me, and I'm
She's
like,
locked
there
in.
you are,
Yeah,
there
that's
you
cool.
are, and everything else just kind of flows. But I go
Huh.
for the eyes right off the bat.
Huh. Well, that's pretty cool.
Let's
The
look at
eyes are purple.
21.
On that one, the eyes were purple because of the whatever team that was. I can't even think. Whatever logo shirt
Yeah, I
he was
seen on
wearing.
his
Right.
t-shirt, yeah, he
Yeah.
had a purple emblem.
Yeah.
Now, who doesn't love their dog? Like,
Yeah.
Like I just
Oh
lost
yeah.
my dog Grayson a couple months ago, and I have my dog Abby tattooed on me, and
Mm.
now I got to get Grayson. But that's a wonderful picture of a German Shepherd. Just really now, was
Thank
this somebody that lost their dog? Was this an remembrance tattoo,
you.
or
Yeah, I believe it was. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, that's
A lot of
really
people.
good.
Most of the time, that's what your animal portraits. 90% of the time, that's
Yeah.
when they get them is after they pass. It ain't usually. It's not usually
Yeah.
before. You know.
I think JD did Abby for me, and I think I got it
Yeah.
when Abby had cancer. I
Yeah.
got it
Yeah.
before she went instead of after she went.
So y'all know Mike
Um,
DeVry is. I'm sorry about
yes.
cutting you.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know Mike DeVry. That I have a. I feel like I did that one after I was looking at one of his books just because of the color tones and just different things like that. You know.
Right.
I love
But
the
I'm
green in
sorry,
the
you were talking
background.
about JD's and your did how long ago did she pass? Your dog?
Oh, she
Well, it's
passed
been.
13, 14 years ago, and then I got
Yeah.
Grayson, who is my tripod rescue, and he lost his front leg tragically, but he just passed away. I had to put him down a couple months ago because he didn't have the range of motion.
Yeah.
His front leg was given out.
Mm,
He's a pit bull, white pit bull, and
yeah,
he just his quality of life was gone, and you could tell.
yeah.
You
So
just
you
couldn't
guys have
hardly
known each
move.
other a long time, haven't you?
Oh
JD
yeah.
and Rhonda. Yeah.
35 years,
Oh
I
wow,
think. I
nice,
think,
Yeah.
yeah,
nice.
about 30 years. So now JD's moving up here
No.
from Florida. He's still going to keep
Oh,
his shop in Florida,
Yeah.
but so I couldn't be happier. But he
good. You.
comes for months and months at a time, and then he'll go home, and then he'll work, and then he'll come back and stay another few months, and he's built quite the clientele. My
Good, good, good.
headphones do not want to stay on today. Okay, let's look at number 22.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite
Nice.
pieces. But I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
just and that actually is a client's picture she took outside for me. She just
Oh
sent it to
wow.
me. She's like, "Oh, I think you might like this. Look at it." I'm like, yeah."
Oh, I like
Just
it. You
you
know
know,
what's really cool is like the background is got golden and it just brings out
I know,
the
right?
golden tones around her eyes, and I was just like, wow, what a background.
Yeah, it wasn't even a plan to picture. It just uh, and I think it was a cell phone actually. She just took it and was like, "Hey, check this out." I'm like, "Yeah, I've used that picture for advertising so many times."
Man, I've always just been horrible at
So
taking
what
pictures.
is this a picture of that we're looking at? Like where did this come from?
you know, I'm sure it came from the internet web. Back that piece right there is probably it was before AI and all that stuff, and probably something she brought in. I just elaborated on. You know, um,
Uh,
Kind of has that David Bolt feel a
yeah,
little bit to it.
yes, it's
Just a little
aquatic.
bit.
Aquatic kind of a mermaid type.
Is that
uh, I
tentacles
like
in
it.
her
Yeah, if
hair
you look in
too?
the hair, yeah, that's kind of favors, a little bit of
Uh,
tentacle flair to it.
Got some
but it just
octopi to
kind of
it.
going in with the hair, that
Yeah,
wave of the hair. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
that's
beautiful.
awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to 23.
A little
So
black
we
and
got to
gray with some
show,
color.
we got to show it because so many people love floral now. Like floral,
Hmm.
floral, floral. It just seems like I'm doing so many flowers, and I just thought these flowers were just very soft, very beautiful. So many people want flowers without the hard lines to them.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
being able and it's hard to kind of do that being and stand the test of time without having line work
yeah.
like using shading, but this looks really really good. I thought this was executed very nicely.
Thank you. Yeah, I went through all the stages of, not no outlines on anything, uh, color outlines. It's a you learn what you're going to have a dark background to back up to
Yeah.
make it. That's what I tell people. When I'm doing something is, you know, yeah, I may put a line here, a light line here, or something to make it stand the test of time. It's more what it's
Yeah.
about,
Well, a
than
lot
Yeah.
of them don't realize, you have to strengthen up those lines, even though there's no outline. You have to strengthen up what's behind it
yeah,
Yeah,
to
I like
push
the
it
negative
forward.
space.
And yeah, a lot of them they have trouble with that. It's almost like pale on pale.
yeah. Well, one thing is like I tell people sometimes too, even with this realism stuff, is like, hey, I'm gonna make it look like the picture, but then I'm also gonna make it a tattoo. So
Yeah,
I want it to last
Right.
as a tattoo, not just for the picture, not just for the.
Hmm.
I want to see this in
yeah,
years and be happy with it.
yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. And I like the negative space behind it. I think
Yeah, that stuff's
that's
fun.
really,
It gives it a little flow. You know,
yes.
it's funny. I'll try to do that with some people, and they're like, "Hey, could you take that out? I don't really like the." I'm like, "Sure, whatever."
Go to
okay.
24.
Oh yeah,
Ah,
Oh wow.
yeah. That's a recent
that
sleeve. I've been. That's not a good picture of it. Don't look like,
dragon.
but
Uh, looks great.
yeah, that's a full out sleeve. It's really
Yeah.
nice if you. I got some videos of it. If you look at it online, that it goes all the way around on the inside's got
Got the pagoda there and the
yeah, the
cherry
inside's got
blossoms.
a bridge with a large lotus flowing in a uh, river water, all the water flowing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then recently
Yeah.
we've added it comes on up to his chest where some more flowers and Japanese water and all that style flowing off of it.
I love the trees. Like I always thought that just looks so awesome.
This
Yeah,
guy right here, I don't know
the
if you guys.
styling of them.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, they take a little time to get them little dots in
Oh
there, and
yeah.
just and
Yeah.
they.
Well, just the shape and flow of a bonsai tree. Just
Oh yeah.
yeah. I think they're just awesome to look at.
So
Hmm.
do you guys you work on have you worked on like I call them Italians, but people's got Italian skin. It doesn't
Oh
matter
yeah.
how bright a pigment you put in them, it's never going to be
Y-
bright. You know,
yeah. You get that
that's
certain tone.
yeah. And this guy, even though he's
Yeah.
pale, he's got that kind of skin. I know the reds look like they're bright, but like I've done other pieces on them and stuff, and it's like you can go over it, go over it, go over it. It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
never like just pow.
Well,
It's just
a
got
lot of
that
people don't
shine to it.
realize you have to take the skin into account as a color.
Yeah,
They think that, oh, you're just going to put such and such over. No, no, that's not how it works. I mean, I have to use you as a color.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like working
You
on
know,
like beige, not you're not working on a white piece of paper.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and everything's going to show through. It's going to be transparent.
yeah.
So
Well, that's
Let's
like the
go to
whites on
25.
him. They yellow a little bit, yellowish sometimes. Oh yeah,
yeah,
old
America.
school America. Yeah, that's a
America.
Marvel.
believe it or not, that's a big nasty cover up.
Is it
It's
really?
yeah.
Well,
If you look on top of his shoulder up over there, there's parts of the tribal esque stuff. You see that? That's got
Oh
tribal.
yeah.
oh
The
yeah, yeah.
whole arm is tribal up underneath it, and
Oh
Wow.
wow.
yeah,
Thank God
and
it was lighter tribal.
we ended up doing his whole sleeve of his arm and all that stuff.
Well, I mean,
Like
where
the
the
gas
tattoos
mask
at,
on
you
Uncle
can't
Sam.
tell. I mean, that's
No,
man,
yeah, I
nice.
can't
Uncle
remember what
Sam
we
got a
ended up
gas mask
adding.
and a gun. Got my Glock. Ready to go.
Yeah, that's some older stuff. So what you can't see
But it's
in this
good. Just because it's
picture,
older doesn't mean that it's not good. I mean,
and
like
what you can't
some,
see in this
the
picture, which was kind of neat, is the busted out. The side of her face is busted out, and it's got the twin towers on the inside.
oh my
Oh wow.
Yeah,
God. Oh, I
you can
bet
barely
that
see
is
where it
really
starts to bust
cool.
right there. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why she's
Yeah,
crying.
yeah. Uh,
Let's look at number 26.
Oh yeah, that was
Oh
Fountain City
yeah.
as well on that.
Fountain City won a
Yeah,
couple trophies for that and looks like a really nice food dog.
Best of the
Yep.
day. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Some more Asian stuff going on. It's hard to
Yep.
get
Nice.
people to do the Asian stuff anymore. So
Yeah. And that was actually on my brother. So no
is that
money
on
for
your
that
brother?
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
That was a
looks
freebie.
good.
Yeah, he wanted it. You know, sometimes I don't have time to work on my family, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
you know, like him, I'm like, hey, do something cool. Let's come to the show. We'll do it. You know.
Yeah, so we can enter it. You know, if I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
gonna do a freebie, I want to do something I can enter.
Got to make it
Yeah.
count.
Absolutely.
Look at number
Yeah.
27.
America.
Wow,
Yeah, I do a lot of
Oh,
flags.
America.
that's nice.
Hey, I will
Yeah, I
say
love the
this.
colors in that.
Back in the
Yeah, and how old is this tattoo?
well, when was Trump in the first time? 17, 18?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So when I tell you what, a lot of people will say whatever, but when Trump was in office the first time, I did more American flags and people were more proud of America than ever. My whole
Yeah.
career, out of the
Oh yeah.
whole,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the whole career, people started
Yeah.
getting them then, you know. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and let's look at the back of it.
that's
We got a
actually
picture of the back.
that's actually hand drawn on.
Oh
I,
wow.
yeah, I don't. All my
Man.
flags, if you go on now, all my flags are hand drawn on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It
I
just
love
saves
like
me
all your
time.
waves and the folds that you put in
Yeah.
Yeah,
your flags. I was looking at some black and gray flags that you had, and just I was just like, wow, he's got those flags just down.
right.
Yeah.
So that's I just quit, and I just add little pieces there, and then you get a pattern. You know what I mean? What you go
Yeah.
and
Well, especially with folds, I mean, you just kind of,
yeah,
it's almost like you're chasing the dragon, you just follow that fold, and just
yeah,
keep working it through.
right,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
right,
bright
exactly.
too.
From one end
This
to
is the
the
first
other.
one where I've seen
Yeah.
like somebody put white into the stripes of the flag. Like
Oh
usually
yeah.
people just leave it negative, you know. I've
Yeah.
seen like well they'll put white
Hmm.
in the stars, but not so much in the
Or
because a
just
lot
go
of
with like
people
a
don't want to use a
gray.
lot of white.
Yeah. Well, and white is strong now. You know, it used to be a weak pigment, but I'm telling you
Yeah.
now, I'll use white, and of course, I went through that stage of too much white. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that,
white
and if you
everywhere.
find that person that really takes it well,
Oh yeah.
you got to take advantage of that. I
Right.
mean, I've seen people that
Okay, so here's the
just didn't.
question. We got to
Mhm.
ask it. What brand of white do you use?
Um. Well,
It's personal.
yeah. No. I tend to use Eternal and um, world famous whites. Yeah, White House and Eternal.
Yeah.
They seem to do pretty well for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, if I'm wanting hard
Yeah.
whites, you know what I mean. I got
Oh
some
yeah.
whites that
Yeah.
I'll use that's a little thinner to mix down, mix with stuff sometimes. But
Just use
as
them as
far as
cutting whites.
yeah, it's cutting whites but as for a good white, yeah, I like Eternals white and uh, world famous. I'm looking at probably I go back and forth through Eternal and world famous, and a lot of those
Well, that.
pieces that you saw were world famous pigments.
Yeah.
So I've been on Eternals for probably last year, but I'm literally fixing to buy a whole set of world famous again. So you get
Yeah.
used to the
Well, I tell
names,
you,
you
no,
know
I
what
don't know if
colors
you're
you
like
like.
this. I know I am. Like certain colors, just you tend to work better with.
Yeah,
I've had people be like, "Oh, such and such colors, just oh man, I love them." You try
yeah,
them, and it's like,
they
eh.
suck.
And then
Yeah.
yeah, it's just well with your style. You
Right.
Well,
you
that's
find
why I was
colors that
asking,
goes
like,
with your
artist
style.
personal preference. Like, white is
Yeah,
one of the things that I see in the forums all the time. Who has the brightest white? What's your favorite white?
yeah,
And you see that all the time in the tattoo forum.
I
So
think it's
when he
technique
was
some.
oh
I,
yeah,
I think it's technique some as well.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
being
oh,
scared of
totally,
it.
totally.
I
Yeah,
think
so for
people are
those of
scared to
you that
pack
want
it.
to know,
They're scared to pack it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, I've had
I'm
people at
not.
shows be like, "Oh, dude, your blue is amazing," and it's like, "Oh, cool, thanks, man." yeah, I use such and such, and it's like, dude, it's the same blue. I'm using the same thing.
Yeah, the same
Like I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why you're
Right.
not getting that out of that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's and and you can tell like when you're tattooing, you can feel you're just like this color is just gonna go in awesome for you, and you know what colors you're
Yep.
gonna have to work a little bit. It's
Yeah.
funny that they don't all go in the same, and a lot of
Yeah.
people they don't realize that, especially early on in apprentices because they're stuck in ABC. I got to do this. I got to do that.
Yeah.
Well, guess
Yeah.
what? It takes something different and different skin. There's so many
Oh yeah.
things to this to get where you're going with it.
Yeah. I ran into people where as soon as you start using like a certain color, like I ran into one where as soon as I started working with greens, oh man, the whole thing just went to shit. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to. I got to change this up. And so I actually started working with another brand of green, and I actually just hand mixed as I went, and I had so much better outcome with that. But some
yeah,
people's skin just don't want to take a certain color, and
right.
you got to be able to adjust that on the fly.
Yeah, realize it, realize what's going on, and change
Yeah,
that. And that comes with experience. That a lot of
yeah.
people don't
Before
know
you get
because
too deep, it's like ain't no coming back now.
it's funny. Some of the guys
Sorry,
will be
guys,
watching
my
you.
cord popped out here.
Uh
Showed me low
Oh,
battery, and I was like, "What? What do you mean low battery? See, I'm bright again."
So
And I
it's funny.
slowly was watching the battery thing go down. I was like, "Oh, no."
Some people will watch me tattoo, being fast, and then they'll go try to do it, and they're like, it doesn't work for me. I'm like, I know, you got to find your groove.
yeah.
You got to find your groove.
Well, it's like you know what you're doing in your head. Like certain
Yeah,
things I'll color in. I've got it up here. I don't
right.
need to see it anywhere because I know the path I'm going to take.
I do
So
that
you're
with
able
this.
to execute that.
Yeah, I do that with the structure of faces even a lot. Sometimes I'll do stuff and people's like, well, you didn't even really look at the reference a whole lot, but man, I'm like, I know because
Yeah.
it's where it's supposed to be. It's mechanics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if you're not
And
doing one that's supposed to look like his mom,
right,
it's like, dude,
right.
I know the structure of a face. I mean, shit,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So let's go to 30. This is me and Eric at the Fountain City Tattoo Expo, where he's working on a huge line on my leg. I think if I had to guess, I bet we'll have two more sessions to go. Maybe just
yeah,
one, but it was a lot to bite off. I'll show you the finish or the picture of the lion is right there.
yeah. It's
And like I have been enamored with this lion like for so long, and I've had tattooers going, "No, I ain't gonna do it. Mm-mm, nope." And I said, Eric, what do you think? You think you can pull this off? Like, I don't really want it in color, but I have the Jesus on the other side, so it has blue in it, and this has blue in it. And I said, you think you can pull this off? And he's like, oh yeah, like
He's like,
yeah.
can you make a shoe smell? Hell yeah.
So we started
I
on
say
it
that
at the
until I get
tattoo
in the middle of
convention,
it, and I'm like, oh shit, what I say that for?
and then I
What was I thinking?
yeah.
Yeah,
And then the next day we went for like the next day he was angry and red and swollen. I mean, so swollen. And we went for like another hour, and I was just like, I
it
can't
was
do this.
torture.
Like tap, 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 tap.
Yeah, it was
Like,
torture.
and he's like, let me just get this here, and let me just get this butterfly, and hurry up, and it was excruciating, excruciating.
Yeah,
But I cannot wait to get him finished. And people that look at it now, and he does, like it's there. We just need to like put some more.
yeah.
I mean, they're all like
Time,
they're like,
more
oh my
time.
God, that is going to be beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, more
And
time.
so let's ask you a few questions here. This is all the
Sure.
pictures that we have of Eric's to show you, and you can certainly go to Eric's. Eric, what is your socials that they can go to see more of your work?
We have Instagram. It's Eric underscore newbie on Instagram, and then of course you can look me up Facebook. And then we have websites. Like my shop websites, inkexpressions.net. You can see all
Well,
the ways
sure,
the
we'll have
market's
all your
getting up.
links in the description too.
Yeah, so not hard to find. Or come by and see me in
I'm not
Um,
Chattanooga.
hard to find, buddy.
Yep.
so I was going to ask you some tattoo convention questions, but you used to do the Chattanooga Tattoo Expo. Do you
Yeah.
plan on picking that back up?
Well, I used to host it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
We've been talking about it again. Everywhere I go, every time I do go to a show, the artists that went to it are like, "Man, why don't you put it on?" We loved it. We loved it, and you know, uh, I've calmed down as far as business stuff. Used to what happened. So, just for an instance, the last year that I put it on here in Chattanooga, the health department charged me $18,000 for all the
What?
yes, for all the out of state artists. Now I started raising
Lord.
Cain, and I started, this is
Oh,
not right, and all that stuff.
yeah.
And finally, a couple of years after and it was all on them saying, well, this is how the law is interpreted. Well, finally they
Uh,
changed it, and now it wouldn't cost probably $5,000. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
and it just wasn't really worth all the aggravation and stress and all that stuff at the time.
Yeah.
Plus, I had a lot of work going on, but now I'm going. It's fun. It was great, and we keep
We had a lot of fun working your
saying,
show.
we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
We had a double booth. We had 4 artists when we
Oh
worked
yeah,
your show that came, and, oh, we had a great time.
Well, see,
it was
I
good.
love seeing a righteous artist that's putting on the shows,
Well, thank you.
or something to
Yeah.
that effect. Because
Well,
you
I
run into
appreciate
some of
an
those
artist.
shows. Well, I've seen some where the guy has nothing to do with tattooing,
Yeah.
and he's putting on a show, and it's like, come on, man. I mean,
Yeah. Well, there's a
it's
lot
a
of
total
things they
money
don't
grab, and I just
understand.
don't respect that. So,
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things they don't understand,
yeah,
what artists are expecting out of it and what they want.
So another question I have for you is, um, do you feel like the craft of tattooing is dying out? I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, "Well, it's just an industry now, but the craft of tattooing is dead." And I'm
Well,
like, "No, no, no, no." And then some other artists that I spoke to were like, "Yeah, we feel that way too."
well,
And I'm
it's
like, "Hmm."
yeah, I get it. I can see both, and I've been always been pretty good about seeing both sides of it, because from being an older tattooer, been in the business for 30 plus years. I've seen a lot of change, and things are just different now. Yes, things are saturated, they're getting saturated. The younger generation, they don't understand about needing to protect their industry or their craft or anything like that. It's
yeah,
they give it away way too much. They give it away. You know what I mean? Like
hmm
the new internet, because they're getting a couple of dimes. They're getting a couple of dimes for giving the information out through social medias that they don't even care for the future. They don't realize, look, bro,
yeah,
we're all going to get old. We're all going to be still doing this. Just because you're 20, 25 doing it right now, what are you going to be doing when you're 55? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And then
That's
you,
where I'm at. Been
yeah,
on both sides of that
and
spectrum.
you've gave away all the information. You've helped. Hey, I've had plenty of apprentices. I've taught plenty of people, but I've not just gave it away for no reason like they do now. And they think it's all just, oh, it's so cool. It's the new hip.
yeah.
It's the
You got to
you know
share
you
information,
share
man.
share share. And I'm
I
going,
remember when information back in the day was really sacred, and you had
Oh
to
yeah,
like
yeah.
you had to
Now there
know
is
people that
nothing
knew people,
sacred.
oh yeah,
or you had your old schoolers back in the day that we used to do conventions with. Like one of my favorite shows to do was the Knoxville Tattoo Show that Brian, Tattoos by Brian, put on, and
Yeah.
that was like one of the ones where either people liked you and shared information with you, or they didn't.
Right.
And so that's when you had Gil Monty and Bo
Yeah.
Vernon and some of the old schoolers that that they hoarded tattoo information. It was like you're gonna apprentice and you're gonna get on the floor with the toothbrush and
Oh yeah.
like
Well, I
you're
remember.
gonna earn whatever I teach you. It
I remember
wasn't just
having to
really
change
giving
out
away.
every one of my ink bottles, to go to a show because you didn't want labels on them.
Right. I
Yeah,
remember
people
that.
didn't.
Because I remember a guy coming in and started putting his ink out on the table, and one of the guys across the hall, they was like, "Hey, what the hell, man?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "What?" And he goes, "Dude, you got to get them bottles the hell up out of here, man." He
Yeah.
goes, "You can't be just showing that to everybody."
I
And it's
remember.
like, "Oh, shit, all right, cool."
Yeah, I remember shows too that if they weren't charging right, they kicked them
Oh
out.
yeah,
The other guys
yeah,
heard about
yeah,
it. They're like, "Get them out of here."
yeah.
Yeah,
Funny
yeah.
things.
Well, we're gonna have just a show on just a podcast on tattoo conventions, and we want to do a roundtable
Yeah.
discussion. So that would be something I'd like to bring you in
Oh
Oh,
on
yeah.
as well,
absolutely.
where we talk about the old
Especially,
school way
yeah,
of
yeah.
Yeah.
apprenticing compared to apprenticeships now.
You've got the background in conventions too, so I mean
Yeah.
that's like the double threat.
Yes, we're gonna do one on conventions, and then we're also gonna do one on apprenticeships. So those will be like tattooer roundtable discussions where
Yeah.
it won't just be me and JD and one other person. We'd like to bring like, 5 people on.
Well, it'd be cool to get
Um,
somebody with the years behind them, and
Yeah.
have a couple guys that they're new in the game, just
Yeah.
starting out, and get both sides kind of view of their take on it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you one topic
They'll be
that's
the guys
hard.
that'll be hiding under the table when we're done.
Yeah.
Oh, we get a big fight, man.
I,
Everybody just starts throwing. Come on, man.
yeah.
Old school,
I
new
will
school. Let's
say
do it.
that, just like your artists though now, I mean, you have like I've had to learn to change and adapt. Even the way that I treat the artist or what I expect
Mhm.
out of them. I cannot expect as much out of artists today as I could expect out of artists before.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah.
have the
Yes.
loyalties at all. If you come
Oh
down
no,
on an
yeah.
artist for not showing up because their client's here, or
Yeah.
just
Well,
for
you know
different
what?
things, they're
They
like,
just
"Well,
Feelings
I'm
get
like,
out
in
of
the way.
here. I'm out of here. See
well,
ya."
you're an
Yeah.
asshole. I
Yeah,
quit
you're an
because the
asshole.
shop down the road is hiring because everybody's hiring because it's oversaturated.
So it's
Yeah.
like you're being tough on me, man. What? And it's like,
Oh
oh, come
yeah.
on, dude.
Well,
But
I
you
do
know what?
a
Usually those artists I have found will creep back and go, well, maybe Rhonda wasn't so bad.
yeah.
Like, so um what's the
Yeah, I
craziest
do.
tattoo you've ever done?
Craziest. I have people.
Wildest tattoo.
The classic question.
Well, I have. Yeah, I know. People ask me that all the time. All the
I
time
know,
they
that's
say,
why I'm
"What's the
asking.
craziest?" But here's the thing for me. Now I can tell you the nastiest thing that happened to me. You know what I mean?
Oh
But
yeah, I gotta know
I'll
it.
tell. I'll tell you that. But I think that I've always like tried not to judge people on their tattoos. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So nothing never really stood out to me, and because
yeah,
I practice so hard not to judge people for what they're getting. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And
Everybody's a little weird.
yeah, right. And so I did have one guy one time, and I'm like, oh man, everybody always asks me this. This is it, and now I can't damn remember it. I'm like, what is it? You know, but
It's
I
with
will
age.
say, I'll tell you this story. It's kind of gross, but it's funny at the
Hey,
same time. And
there you go.
there's a whole long story to it. But if you've ever seen this TV series called Justified on TV, anyway,
Yeah,
the second actor on it, the old guy, Nick Searcy, he came down to my shop downtown. I met him there. Of course, I was running late. Yada yada yada, all that. Met him. He had a wrestler with him. I ended up tattooing him and hung out with him, talked to him. Anyway, I had a client. They were talking to me about doing a TV reality show, and so I was like, talk to him about that. Well, then I had to work on my other clients. Well, my client next, little older lady, she's probably about in her 45 ish. I'm getting her
Easy
stenciled.
now.
Yeah, a little older
older,
for
man.
not. I mean,
You're
So
saying
she's
little older lately, and
well,
look
she's
at our
she's
age.
not like no. I don't mean a little old lady. She's a little older. Not
Older.
20. Yeah. So
Mature.
I was getting her stencil ready, and she walks up to me, and she's got this cup, and she's like, "Yeah, I brought me something to drink because I passed out the last time." Well, I thought she meant water, hydrated water, right? Okay.
Little fruit
So
juice.
yeah. So and then I actually knew her friend that was with her. I knew him very well. You know, he is somebody he brought. So I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, this girl's got water, right? So I'm tattooing her, and probably about it's a lower back tattoo, right? Yeah. So I'm tattooing her, and she starts leaning further over, and all she's just laying down back basically, and I'm like, what the hell? She's done with the drink. I'm like, what the hell was in that drink? Is it not water? Everybody's like, I don't think so. And so anyway, by the time I got done with it, I mean, I'm in the middle of like very end of it. I start smelling something. I'm like,
Oh, hell
this
no.
smells like shit. I'm like, this smells. I'm like,
Start getting that.
I'm having to finish this. Yeah, tattoo. Dude. I get done with it, and she's like, obliterated by now. And she's got a girl with her, and my buddy, or guy I know, we know mutual. And I'm like, dude, get her out of here. So he drags her out. Well, guess what? When she gets up, she had pissed all over my table too.
Oh,
I mean, just all over it. Yeah. So you say, what's your most I got a nasty one.
Right.
I don't have a
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, got her done, cleaned up real good. Ended up, I worked on another guy. I worked till 2 o'clock, or it's about 1:30 in the morning. I walk out, and my client's behind me, and I'm locking the door. I look over, and I see this truck go out. I says, damn, that looks just like my truck. It was my truck. My truck was being
What?
drove off. Somebody had stole my truck. Yeah, same night.
Shit.
Yeah, all this the same night. So I called Nick seriously. I'm like, you want to know the reality of a tattoo show? Guess what? This happened, and my truck got stolen.
And they shot my dog.
Yeah, I was running down. I seen it going down the road. Of course, I had a pistol in my pocket, sticking down my waist. I'm running down the road, calling the cops. I'm like, hey, come! Somebody just stole my truck. And they're like, where? I said,
had to
never
shoot
mind. There's a
somebody.
cop. Yeah, I'm like, there's a cop right here. And ended up, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, somebody just stole my truck. And he's like, what the hell's that? I said, it's my pistol. I own a business right here. And he's like, well, put it in your pocket. I was like, okay.
Well, thanks, Eric, so much for coming on our podcast.
I
And
enjoyed
if
it.
you guys would like to reach Eric, all his
Yeah.
info will be listed in the comment section. So go check out some more of his work there and hit him up if you're in the Chattanooga area or near it. But are you working any more conventions this year that somebody can find
Yeah.
you at?
I have Jacksonville in August, and September I have Fountain City. So
Awesome. Well, we might see you in September in Fountain City. But thanks everyone for tuning in, and let us know in the comment section what tattoo did you really like that Eric did. And if you're a tattooer and you would like to have your tattoos displayed and you would like to be on our show, please give us an email with your information at talesfromthetattoochair@gmail.com.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, please press that subscribe and like button. And if you're watching this on Spotify, hit that follow so we can let you know when the next one is. And next week, we're going to be doing another tattoo smackdown. And it's going to be what I wanted versus what I got. Yeah, that's going to be
Oh,
funny as
boy.
hell.
Don't miss out on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, you know what you're in for.
I'm your host, Rhonda Marsh.
And I'm JD.
And until next time, we'll see you on the other side of the tattoo chair.